Alright, what's up guys? Vivi back with another video. And in today's in today's Vivi video, we're going over Nefeltari Vivi. That's right. But yeah, we're going to be checking out Red Blue Nefeltari Vivi. This is the new EB-03 leader Nefeltari Vivi. And we're going to be having a little bit of fun with it. Okay? So let's do this, guys. Without any further ado, I will have... actually, let me lay out the video real quick. I'm getting ahead of myself. First things first, we're going to check out the deck list, okay? Kind of break it down and tell you guys what we're working with. And then after that, we're going to check out 4 games on the sim. And then we'll finish up the video by going over it and recapping. And I'll tell you guys what I think about this leader moving forward. Okay, so let's do this, guys. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the Vivi Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. This video is brought to you by Nin Garden. Pre-orders are now open for the Journey's End playmat featuring the Pirate King, with a 1 in 20 chance to pull the special Wanted Bounty variant. Plus, the Chaos and Crown collection, including the Berserk and Absolute Ruler playmats, are available at a discounted price. Nin Garden is also introducing their new Soft Cloth hybrid playmats, now available with select designs. And don't forget to use the code TheViviTheory at the checkout to get 8% off on your next order. Alright guys, let's go and break down the deck list for today's video, starting off with the leader. Nefeltari Vivi is a 5,000 power, 4 life, red-blue Alabasta type leader with the effect once per turn. If your character with a base cost of 4 or more would be KO'd, you may trash 1 card from your hand instead. And then there's an activate main that says you may rest this leader and give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Then up to one of your characters without a when attacking effect gains rush during this turn. Okay, so now we're going to go over the deck list, guys. Be sure to pause and read each one of these cards to see what they do if you don't already know. So we're running 4 of the 2K counter Sanji, 4 2K counter Tony Chopper, 4 of the new Nami, 4 8-cost Secret Rayleigh, 3 of the 10-cost KO Shanks, running 4 of the 2K counter Otama, 4 of the the PRB-02 Marco Blocker, 4 of the EB-03 Nefeltari Vivi, 4 of the 5-cost OP11 Nami, 4 Yamato, running 2 Boa Hancock. This is EB-03 Boa Hancock. Just kind of experimenting with this. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in a minute. Running 2 Kaido, the Secret Kaido from OP05, 2 Edward Newgate from OP13, 3 Bad Manners Kit Course, and 2 Gum Gum Red Rock. So guys, I have to say this, after messing around with this list, and I've looked at a few other lists as well. Now, this is my own little creation here, but after coming up with this deck list, I went ahead and checked out what some of the other Nefeltari Vivis are running. And I have to say, I think I want to go more of a removal route with the deck. We'll talk about that more at the end of the video, I'm sure. But I don't know if I need these Gum Gum Red Rocks in here because of how this deck works, guys. I mean, with our leader effect, understand how this Nefeltari Vivi leader effect works. We can actually KO a 12,000 power character with Shanks. How does that look? So understand the activate main. It says you may rest this leader and give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay? Then up to one of your characters without a when attacking effect gains rush during this turn. So in other words, all we have to do is rest down our Nefeltari Vivi first to give a character minus 2,000 power for the turn, and then we just won't be able to give the Shanks rush afterwards, but we use the Nefeltari Vivi's effect first to minus 2,000 power a character, and then play out the Shanks, and we can hit a 12,000 power character, guys. That's like the biggest character in the game, other than Goldie Roger. And sure, that would be nice to be able to deal with that, but remember how Goldie Roger works? Typically speaking, your opponent is just going to play that out to try to win the game. So it's very rare to see to see a Goldie Roger just sitting on the board. So again, I don't know if we're necessarily going to need these red rocks. I could just go -1 red rock to go up another Shanks, and then minus the other red rock to go up maybe an Edward Newgate or something. So that is one thing I will say. And another thing is this. Because we have this 2,000 power reduction built into the leader, some cards I'm really considering, and I have seen other Nefeltari Vivi decks run this, is I'm really considering Ben Beckman and Edward Newgate, the two 7-cost characters. Because hear me out. So first of all, Edward Newgate, Ben Beckman, and Silvers Rayleigh, and Shanks for that matter. These other three, though, let's not talk about Shanks. We already know how strong Shanks is. We just talked about that. But Edward Newgate, Ben Beckman, and Silvers Rayleigh, they're already very strong as is. A Silvers Rayleigh can hit a 6,000 power character by himself. A Ben Beckman can hit a 6,000 power character. And Edward Newgate can hit a 5,000 power character by themselves. So if you combine that with the Nefeltari Vivi's leader effect, well, now all of a sudden we're hitting an 8K with the Silvers Rayleigh and the Ben Beckman, or we're hitting a 7K with the Edward Newgate. So I just think that's actually very, very relevant. And remember, guys, this Edward Newgate has an on-play effect to give up to give your leader or one of your characters up to 1 Rested Dawn card. So we'll be able to play that and, you know, give Dawn around and move from there. But either way, that is something we're going to have to really consider, and I'll try to talk about that more at the end of the video. But other than that, guys, hopefully you see what's going on here. We're just trying to curve out with this deck. Sanji early on is nice because we can use this to eat up our own life cards if needed, to swing big early on if we're going against any kind of deck that's trying to starve us. It's also just a really nice card to play down. Let me say this. We want to go second, okay, guys? We want to go second so we can go 8 Dawn. Well, really, we can go 6, 8, 10, right? Just 6, 8 into one of these 10s wherever, and we can go 4, 6. Actually, we have a really nice 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 curve, guys, because we can go Sanji, and then into either of these blockers, Tony Chopper or Marco, okay, and then into our 6 drop, which is this Boa Hancock. We'll talk about this in just a second. And then 8 drop Silvers Rayleigh. Into 10 drop, we have 7 really strong options. So going second is what we want to do. And this Sanji, if we can play this out right on turn 1, we can start eating up smaller little searchers or whatever, or get super aggressive with it. It all depends on what we want to do. And in fact, I will say this, it's actually very solid in this deck in particular, because if we play this out going second on turn 1, and then next turn, we can just aggressively counter out of their next attack, you know, our opponent's next attack, if it's reasonable. If it's like a 5 or 6K attack, just counter out aggressively. And then on our turn, we'll eat up our own life card with this Sanji after playing out something like this Tony Chopper or this Marco, and then we can swing for 5 and then 7, right? So we have that option, and then we get that card from our life to our hand anyway. So there's this card has a lot of synergy in the deck. Okay, and then next up we have like our 4-drop stuff, which is mainly which is just Marco and Tony Chopper. These blockers in Nefeltari Vivi, excuse me, guys. These blockers in Nefeltari Vivi are actually insane because remember this once per turn effect. You can just block, and they're both 6Ks on defense, by the way. Defensively, this Chopper and this Marco are 6Ks. So we can block out very efficiently, and then we can also once per turn to save them. Right, so that's just like a match made in heaven with these little 4-cost these 4-cost blockers. Now, let me talk about the 5-cost stuff. I've got 16 5-cost cards in the deck. That's probably going to change over time. But here's what's going on. If we are stuck going first, right, that's not a big deal. We have no turn 1 play in this entire deck, and even our turn 2 play going first we could improve. Maybe we can find a good 3-drop to add, but right now you just have to play out this Sanji. But then on our 5 Dawn turn, we do have a very explosive turn. My favorite 5 Dawn combo is this Nefeltari Vivi right here, cheating out this Nami. Okay, being able to cheat out the 5-cost 6K blue Nami allows us to do like a 3-card search, right? We do a draw 3 and then place 2 on the top or bottom wherever we need it. And I actually like this better than Nami. Now, you're going to see in the games today, guys, I kept messing up this Nami. I kept forgetting about the on-play effect to give my active leader minus 5,000 power and draw a card. I messed up, I think, 2 or 3 times. Y'all be nice to me, guys. I'm still learning the deck. I just kept messing it up. I don't know why. It happens, right? It's just like, it was almost like a mental block. I'm sure I'll figure it out more in the future. Because I'm not trying to say this is a bad card. I just kept messing it up. But I still like this Nefeltari Vivi play into the blue Nami even better. And then this Yamato right here, I think I just favor the card draw, guys. Now understand, this Nefeltari Vivi cannot play out this Yamato. It can only play out a Landawano, or excuse me, a Straw Hat or Alabasta type character. So we can't cheat out this Yamato. But guys, I still love playing this card out. Taking that first life aggressively, we can even force taking the first life aggressively if we need to, and then slamming down Yamato on a 5 or 6 Dawn turn, and now I'm drawing cards and attaching a Dawn to my leader and doing what I need to from there, right? So I am a huge fan of this this Yamato here in the deck. Might not need to keep 3 or 4 of them in. We might need to go down to 2 or 3, but I think it's a solid utility piece in the deck. Now, moving on to Boa. I think I like the other Boa better. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, it's nice that this card can hit your opponent's hand, but I'd rather just shut down my opponent's attack for the turn and go next turn, right? Just like, okay, I just completely countered their last turn more than likely, and that's going to lead directly into my 8-cost Silver's Rayleigh play, or into like a Ben Beckman or Edward Newgate play if we push, in that direction in the future. But, yeah, just being able to shut down an attack I think is going to be better. It's not that this is a bad card, guys. Let me get up the blue cards real quick that are 6 costs. It's not that this Boa is a bad card. It's just I think the other Boa is slightly better. And the other Boa, if I could find it, here it is, this one right here. 6 costs 8k on play up to one of your opponent's characters other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot attack until the end of their next turn. And then place up to 1 cost 1 or less character on the bottom of its owner's deck. That's actually very good as well, guys, being able to bottom deck these pesky little searchers, just get those off the board for free while developing a 6-cost 8k and locking down their attack. Just thumbs up all around. But hey, that's all right. Like I said, we were just trying something out here. This is an interesting card from EB-03. The main idea is it's a 6-cost 8k that hits your opponent's hand if they have 5 or more cards in their hand. They put 1 card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. And then the activate main, we just don't have any really good targets to use this with in this deck, so it just didn't end up working out all that well. But hey, it is still a 6-cost, 8,000 power character, guys. That's still a massive attacker. Kaido, this card speaks for itself, but you do have to get kind of aggressive. Notice it says if your opponent has 3 or less life. So if your opponent has 4 or more life, you don't get to draw 4 when it comes into play, and then it's not nearly as good. Okay, then we have Edward Newgate, this card as well. Now this card, I don't know, maybe we don't even need this Kaido. Maybe this is too greedy. Maybe we just go up to 4 Edward Newgates, but I did at least want to try this Kaido out. Because if you start drawing 2 and trashing 1 while attaching 2 Dawn here and 2 Dawn there and getting a blocker down, you almost don't have to use your leader effect. You can just go 7k on your leader and then 8k on one of your, 8k or 10k or whatever on one of your other characters. So this card, just awesome. This card's just unbelievable, guys. This is definitely the card that blue needed for the late game. Like, this card in particular is what blue needed for the late game. Okay, then we have Bad Manners Kit Course. Not much to talk about here, just a 0-cost 3k, because we do have a fair amount of bricks in here. Let's count it up real quick, guys. So we have 4, 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 6 is 17. So we do have 17 bricks in here. So maybe that's just a whole nother reason to get rid of these boas here and maybe go up the 7-cost Ben Beckman or something along those lines. We'll have to figure it out. But I will say this, guys, because of the way that our leader effect works, as long as we can get down an early blocker like this Tony Chopper or this Marco, well, now you can trash your bricks and stuff like that in hand just to save them from attacks. And notice we have a lot of blockers in here, by the way. We're running 4 of this Tony Chopper blocker, 4 of this Marco blocker, 4 Nefeltari Vivi, 4 Nami, and then 2 Edward Newgate. So we have quite a few blockers in here. We just have to be able to, trash cards from our hand with our leader effect. Just have to block and save stuff. That's all. Alright, that's enough yapping about the deck list, guys. Let's go ahead and hop over to the sim and see this deck in action. Alright, guys, first game up we have against Black Yellow Gecko Moria. So let's get the volume off and let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. So like I said, guys, you typically want to go second. Okay, and it looks like we got second this game. They're going to play out a Sindri. We're just going to slam down a Sanji and say go. Okay, 3 Dawn turn for the Gecko Moria. They're going to swing for 5. We're probably going to take this one, but I think that was a bit of a play mistake because, okay, well, then they do attack in for 5. I was going to say, because we could have just gone aggressive, but here we go. Since they swung with the Sindri, we'll just be able to go into that, and now we can attack into their leader for 5, and we're going to play out a Marco for 4. Okay, so we're kind of off to the races now, right? This is the early game setup that you're going for, and that's why it's very important to go second when you can with this deck. If you can go, if you're stuck going first, maybe we'll have to make some adjustments to the list in the future to have a decent 3-drop in the deck. But the crappy part about a 3-drop is it's not a 4 cost, it's a base, 4 base cost for our leader's effect. Okay, they attack into my Sanji. I'm actually just going to let it go. I'm not even going to save it with the, actually we can't save it. What am I talking about with the leader's effect? We can't save it. Okay, we play out the Otama. We're trying to fix our hand. I need to get into some bigger targets here, guys. I'm getting a little bit concerned. So we're going to swing for 6 and then 6 again with the Marco. I don't have a blocker on the board, but I'm basically daring him to attack into my Marco character because, number 1, it's easier to defend, and number 2, I can save it with my leader's effect. Okay, they're going to hit us with the Perona there. We trash the Nami from our hand. They're going to swing in for 5. We're going to 2K counter out of this one, and then we'll probably just take this one unless it goes to our board. Then we might save it. We might also let it go because we can draw 2 cards. We're going to save it there. I think that's the right call because I'm not playing out a blocker next turn. That's right, guys. We're playing out the Silver's Rayleigh. Now, right here, pause. Okay. Guys, lock in for a second. What would you do this turn? What would you guys do on this turn? Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do here. I can actually use the Silver's Rayleigh to, with my leader effect, I can go minus 2,000 power to the Gecko, and then I can go minus 3,000 power to a Perona, or excuse me, I can go minus 2,000 power to the Gecko Moria character with my leader, then play out my Silver's Rayleigh, giving minus 3,000 to a Perona and minus 2,000 to the Gecko, and hitting that off the board with my leader's effect, and then attack into their board. Right, so that's what I'm going to choose to do here. But there's a few options you could do here. Because one of the other things you could do is play out this Silver's Rayleigh and go minus 3,000 power to this Gecko Moria, and then minus 2,000 power to one of the Peronas here, KO the Perona, and then give the Nefeltari Vivi rush to be able to attack into the other Perona and go from there. Right, so we have some pretty decent options here, actually. Okay, so right here, though, like I said, I'm going to choose to get rid of the Gecko. I'd rather just get these bigger cards off the board. If I can keep my opponent's board very small, then I'm in good shape. Okay, so right there, we give minus 3 to the Perona, minus 2 to the Gecko, getting rid of it, and now we can't attack in with our Silver's Rayleigh, unfortunately. Excuse me. So we're going to go 6 into 5 and then 6 into 2 there. We get rid of one of the characters. They save the other. All right, and here we go, guys. Here we go. We have full board control so far, but let's see what the black-yellow Gecko Moria player has to say about that. I'm sure they're going to have a pretty decent follow-up here. They're on a 9 Dawn turn, so I was going to say I would imagine this is either going to be the 8-cost Gecko or the 9-cost Boa. They go with the 9-cost Boa, which is a very strong card. They're going to swing in for 5. We're going to 1K counter out. They're going to swing in for 5 more. We're going to 2K. I don't want to go too low in life, guys. I have no way to gain life in this deck. Now, here we go, guys. We're about to see an absolutely brutal play, here with the 10-cost Shanks getting rid of the Boa. Now that card has Rush. And, guys, we're just going to swing in for 8 and then 12. I think we're going to leave the blocker active this time. We're going to leave the blocker active because I don't want to go too much lower in life seeing those Boa Hancocks on the board or, you know, in the trash. I don't want to go too much lower in life. A little bit too dangerous against a deck like Gecko Moria that can gain life and burn life. Okay, let's see what they choose to do now. I have this in 2x speed, guys, and I will say my opponent was taking a little bit of time, but I didn't want to be mean. You know how it is. You don't want to be, like, mean to anybody. Give them some time. If someone just, you know, leaves you waiting the whole game, that's messed up, of course, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this guy about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to say something in the chat, like, hey, you still there? Because if the person's just going to leave the game, then I'll just leave the game. I don't care. It's unrated. But no, they were still there. They were just considering all their options. Notice I'm getting impatient with the mouse over here. I'm just doing all this crazy stuff with the mouse. They play out an 8-cost Gecko Moria. They're going to be able to gain a life with this card or bring a card back from the trash, which they chose to do. They got a blocker, and now they're going to go 7 into 6, and they might choose to trash 3 cards from their hand to gain a life. Okay, here we go. I think gaining the life over getting the Sindri was the better call, but, you know, the Sindri's not bad. Now I have to deal with that. Okay, so they gain a life. We're going to block, and we're going to let the card go to draw 2 cards and fill up our hand a little bit, because I want to keep filling up the board with characters. I also want to fill up my hand a little bit. Okay, so I don't think we're going to attack with the Edward Newgate here. We're going to keep that blocker on the board. So we're going to go ahead and swing for 7, 8, 8, 12. Okay, let's see if they can even survive this. They might not even be able to survive this. Okay, they did just trash a 2K counter, though. Okay, now we're... Oh, and they have a blocker. Excuse me, what am I talking about? They have a blocker. They're fine. Okay, here we go. My board is completely... my board is massive right now, guys. They're going to be in a little bit of trouble here if they can't try to close out or get rid of some stuff here. So they're going to play out the 8-cost Gecko Moria, cheating out of Perona, locking down my Yamato, which is not a bad play, but I think they need to gain life. I think gaining life is the way to go here. Okay, and now they're going to attack. Let's see. Swinging for 6 into 5. I might just take this and block out of the next attack. Actually, we're just going to block and watch this, guys. They're about to learn a valuable lesson about Nefeltari Vivi. Okay, they're going to swing in for 13 into 12. I'm going to let it get KO'd and just trash a card from my hand to save it. And that's basically going to be game. Because remember, they can't attack with the Gecko Mori, the other one. They just played it. Okay, so we're going to replace this card on the board with the Kaido. We're going to give it Rush, and we're going to go 8, 12, 12, 12. That's the order of business here. We could have just gone for 15 or something like that, guys. I know, but I wanted to play out the Kaido. Okay, I saw the pretty card in my hand, and I wanted to draw 4 cards. So I wanted to play out the Kaido. Okay, just kidding. All right, good game to my opponent. That was a fun one. Decent showing here for Red Blue Nefeltari Vivi. Now, we have a game versus Blue Yellow Nami. Let's go volume off, speed on 2x, and here we go. Blue Yellow Nami is no joke right now, guys. Especially with the EB-03 support. Watch, I'm going to give a small spoiler here, guys, but my opponent has the 7-cost Nico Robins in their deck, and they're going to get 2 on the board this game. That card is no joke. That card is no joke. Okay, they start off by playing out a young girl, which has an on-play, draw 1, trash 1, and it lets them attach a Dawn to their leader. They swing in for 7, we block it, or we take it. And now we're down to 3 life, but we're going to play out the Marco, and we get some easy blocks off now. They play out a 5-cost Nami to burn up my life. I'm going to block in 2K, and now it's back to us. That Nami, if you have, it's just like the 6-cost Nico Robin. If you have 3 or more, if your opponent has 3 or more life cards, they lose a life. Now the Nami at least lets us take the card to hand, though. Okay, here we go, guys. We're going to give this Boa Hancock the ability to attack in early here, and they take the hit. Pause. They play out the 7-cost Nico Robin, the first one. There's going to be multiple this game. That allowed them to gain a life. And that card has an on-KO effect to actually burn up one of our lives. Deals a damage to us. So now they're going to swing in for 6. They have 2 6K attacks. So we're going to go ahead and block out of the, or 2K counter out of the first one. And then we're going to 2K counter out of the next one. We could have blocked, but I want to keep those 1Ks in my hand. I actually want to play those out this turn, I think. All right, let's see what happens here. Yeah, we're going to play out the Nefeltari Vivi, playing out the Nami, fixing our hand a little bit. We're going to do a draw 3, place 2 on the top or bottom of our deck. I think we're going to put some cards on the top of our deck, by the way. I think it's going to be the Silver's Rayleigh and then the 4-cost Marco on top. So here we go. We're going to go 8 into 6. I'm hoping he uses up some cards to save it here. Okay, he does not. He does not take the bait there. And then he plays out a no Gecko with that effect, with the effect of the on-KO from the Nami, bouncing back my blocker Marco. Feels bad, but we do have other cards on the board. Right, we do have, we do have other blockers on the board. They play out another Nico Robin, gaining a life. They're coming in for 8, guys. This is brutal. This is so brutal. I'm gonna block with the Nefeltari Vivi and then use the leader's effect to save it. Now they're gonna swing in for 7. We're gonna block and 2K counter out of it. All right, here we go. We are not in a position we want to be in right now, guys. However, we're gonna play out the Shanks. We're gonna take a hit from life. We're gonna minus 2,000 to the Nico Robin, and we're gonna take another hit to life, guys. We're down to 0. Oh well. Too bad, okay? No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, it's like, oh, well, hey, we're just going to do this. They're going to play out a Gum Gum Red Rock and destroy my hand. They're going to swing in for 6. We're going to block, and we're going to 1K counter to get out of that. Okay, here we go. Back to us. We're going to swing for 8. They're going to use Leader Effect and a 2K. Now we're going to play out the Kaido to draw 4. And now we're going to give that character Rush, and we're going to attack in and pass. Watch this, guys. As if one pudding wasn't enough. They bounce a card back to my hand, hit me with another pudding. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Degenerate. Unbelievable. And guys, we block out of this one. I trash a card from hand. And watch this. They go 6 into 4. Guys, pause. So, hang on. Let me go backwards. If my opponent just attacks into my face for 7, we're done. We're done for. However, my opponent doesn't know what's in my hand because they just hit me with a random pudding. And the idea is if they don't go for this blocker on the board, then I can hide behind it for the rest of the game. Right, so that was the whole idea there. Okay, but watch this. They attack into it, and they were probably expecting us to maybe try to save it or something. Yep, nope, we're not going to be able to save it, but now we're about to be able to stabilize right here. Okay, so I think we're going to go 5 into 4 because we're going to play out a Edward Newgate this turn, I believe. Okay, here we go. Swing in for 8, and then we're going to swing in for 12. And we got a card. Now they're down to 1 life. We play out the Edward Newgate. We're going to trash the Gum Gum Red Rock. That's not going to help us here. Okay, they're going to play out Akuma. Guys, they keep gaining life. Leave me alone. They keep gaining life. Okay, they swing in for 6. We have a nice 2K counter right here. We're going to 2K out of this one, and then we'll just block the next hit from the leader. Yep, they just passed the turn back. That's fine. All right, here we go. 5 and a 4. They're just going to let that go, obviously. And now we're going to go, what, 8 and 12. And, guys, we're about to just go blocker, blocker, blocker. Actually, we might draw. We're going to draw some cards with the Yamato. What am I talking about? So we're going to do a draw 2, attach 1 to the leader. And then we're probably going to play out this Nefeltari Vivi. Maybe? I think we should attack first, yeah, because we're probably going to have... Actually, we should probably replace the Yamato, shouldn't we? We should probably replace the Yamato. Okay, so we play out the Nefeltari Vivi. We replace the Yamato with the blocker Nami. And that's a draw 3, place 2 on the top or bottom. Okay, I think we bottom decked those two because we've got pretty good counter power now. They're going to swing for 7. I think this is a nice Edward Newgate block right here. Yeah, this is just an Edward Newgate free block for us. And now, guys, we have 3 blockers on the board. Okay, those Nojikos. Those things are diabolical. So we're going to block out and we're going to trash a card from hand. Pause. And that's going to be game. Because that's why he went for... Guys, just to put everything into perspective, that's why he was going for my Nefeltari Vivi when he only had like a 6 or 7k attack he could have tried to punch through when I had 4 cards left in hand. That's why he went for the Nefeltari Vivi. Because if he does not get my blockers off the board, it's just game over. But hey, that's part of card games, guys, especially in One Piece. Every now and then you're going to find yourself in this position where it's like, should I go for lethal or should I not? And most oftentimes the answer is not to go for lethal if you have the choice. It's like, no, we'll just go next turn. But my opponent could have snuck one on me there. Guys, the double Nico Robins into triple Nojiko plus puddings with those, that was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. Blue Yellow Nami is no joke. It is absolutely no joke. And let me say this real quick, guys. Notice they have a Eustace Captain Kidd and a Nami in their hand. That is why, let's go back to the mid game here, guys. That is why I took out... Okay, where is... Actually, it was way back here. It was in the early game. Look at this, guys. Down here at the bottom. I'm all the way like the first 1/3 of the game. There's a reason why I took out both of their Nico Robins in 1 turn. Because if I don't, they're swinging with 2 8,000 power characters every single turn for the rest of the game. So yes, it does hurt to take out these Nico Robins early, but sometimes it's the right call. Because number 1, if you don't take them out and take the damage to life early, they're going to hit you later on with an 8-cost Eustace Kidd. Then what? That card trashes your top life card. Nico Robin deals damage to you. So you might actually either A, get a trigger, or B, you're going to draw the card to your hand. Okay, either way, good game to my opponent. That was a fun one. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next up we have a game versus Purple Doflamingo. Volume is off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Okay, Purple Doflamingo. I don't think they're going to like this deck all that much, right? Excuse me. I played against quite a few Purple Doflamingos. I think most of them ended up just kind of like leaving early, to be honest, guys. Like this game, I think even this person leaves early. It was hard for me to get a full game against Purple Doflamingo because while that leader is very strong, I think it will have a few like hard counters. So there we go, guys. Another reason why Sanji is so nice to be able to play out on turn 1. We just attacked into 1 sugar, then we attacked into another. They could have Dawn -1 to try to save it, with their leader effect, but then they still would have lost 1. I think they should have, to be honest, but oh well. Okay, they're going to swing for 7 into 5. We're going to block and then use this Nami to get out of that. And let's see what they do next here. Or let's see what we do next here. We're going to play out the Yamato. Yamato is not the greatest with this leader effect, with the way that it attaches a Dawn to our leader, but then we have to rest our leader to give the Yamato the ability to attack. But still, it lets us like use the Yamato next turn without having to, waste our leader effect, per se. All right, here we go. So we're swinging for 7 and 7. They're gonna take this one, and we're gonna pass, leaving the Marco open. It's nice to be able to leave a Marco, some type of blocker that costs 4 or more, as open for your leader effect. Okay, they're gonna play out the Sugar. They're gonna ramp some Dawn here. They're gonna play out a Monet, ramp some more Dawn. Seems good. And let's see what they do now. I think they can only swing with 2 characters here. Yeah, a Monet and the leader. So they're gonna swing for 2, and then they're gonna swing. Okay, they swing into the Sanji. I think I'm okay with just letting that card go, guys, because again, like I've already used it once. I'm down to 2 life. I think I'm fine now. Okay, so right here, so we're gonna go I think excuse me, yeah, I was gonna say I think we probably should have got rid of the Sugar. That's not the Searcher Sugar. Never mind. So we actually KO one of the Monets and drop the other one down to a 4K. We'll go 6 into 4. Let's see if they want to try to save this. They go Dawn -1, push it over to the Sugar. That's going to let them play out a Virgo. Seems good. We're going to go 8 into 2. That card's gone for sure. And now we're going to be able to just pass the turn with our Marco up. Now, that Virgo is very annoying. Let me tell you right now, guys, that Virgo helps them survive removal, right? Because it has a once per turn to save one of your Don Quixote Pirates type characters from removal by just doing a Dawn -1. Yeah, there it is right there. And it has a win attacking to Dawn -1 to drop the power of a character. Okay, they dropped, and they did that. They did Dawn -1 with their Virgo's effect to, hang on, let me pause. A lot's going on here. They did a -2,000 power to my Marco for the turn. So I end up getting out of the first attack, I believe, and now they're going to swing in for 5, and we're probably just going to block this and then trash a card from hand to save with our leader's effect. Or we might even just take this and draw some cards here. Nope, we're going to counter out we're going to use our leader effect to get out of it. Okay, here we go. Let's see what they choose to do now. Or they're going to pass the turn back. They have 4 Dawn active because of their Rosinante. And now we can't play out our 10-cost Kaido because they have 4 life. I mean, we can play it out technically, but why would we want to do that? So right here, I think we're going to go -2,000 power, and we're going to be able to play out this, probably, I was going to say, we probably want to play out this Silver's Rayleigh, but let's see what happens here. Yeah, I think we want to play out the Silver's Rayleigh. We're going to go -3,000 to the Rosinante, and we're going to try to KO the Virgo. They're going to Dawn -1 to save it, and now we're going to just bash into it for 8,000. 8,000 into 3. They're going to do some type of effect here to get the Dawn back. I think it's from the 8-cost Doflamingo. And then they use some type of, what is that, Chromatic String? But I think that might only affect your leader. I'm not sure what just happened there, guys. I think they messed up. I'm just going to... I'm not exactly sure what happened there, guys, but maybe they didn't do anything. Hey, let me go backwards real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Give me just 1 second. Let me see something here. All right, so we attack. Okay, sorry, that's already in their trash. So they're just taking a while to think about what they want to do here. It's 8,000 into 3,000, and they're probably just going to go Dawn -1, move the attack over into the 8-cost Doflamingo. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I was saying, wait a minute, what are they doing? You know, why didn't they use the counter there? So they use the Dawn -1 into the Doffy, like we said. We're going 7 into 3. Now it's gone. And now we're going to pass the turn back. We have 1 Dawn active. We're flirting with like the idea of like a Rad Beam or something like that. Maybe a Slave Arrow could be decent. But no, we're not using anything like that. Okay, here we go. So they're going to use a God Thread. And I'm going to choose to just let this Yamato go, I believe. Yeah, we're just going to let that card go so we can use the effect of Nefeltari Vivi on our blocker later this turn. So they're going to swing for 9 into 8. So we're going to 2K counter to get out of that. Then they swing for 5. We ended up not needing to do that. I should have saved the Yamato after all. Okay, so here we go. I think this is one of the games where I mess up with the 5-cost Nami, guys. Don't be mad at me, but I think this is that game. I think this is one of the games I was thinking of. Okay, so 8 into 5 just to start the turn off. I want to see if they're going to use any kind of Hell's Judgment or any kind of, what's it called, Nora Beam Swords or something along those lines. That's where I'm attacking with these bigger attacks first. They take the 8K hit, and now I can play out the Kaido. I'm going to go 12 into 7, and I think this is where my opponent backs out of the game. Number 1, guys, please make sure you read your cards very carefully. Watch this. This happens all the time. Okay, they go Dawn -1, and they're going to use Bullet String to buff their character by 2,000 for the turn and 2,000 for the battle. And then they're going to use Everwhite. But what's this, guys? Hang on. Let me go back and see if I can pause on the actual card itself. Sorry, guys. It's kind of hard to line this up. Pause. Everwhite can only give 3K to a leader. That is the most common mistake I see, guys, is people using these 1-cost 3K counters on their characters. Please read the cards very carefully, guys. This is the best way to remember it. If it's a card with a main and a counter on it, like I call them like 3K counter leader utility events. If there's a main and a counter, there's a very high likelihood that it only targets your leader, okay? Be sure to read it very carefully. Some, I think, can target either or, but it's very rare, so be sure to read those cards very carefully. Either way, like I said, my opponent kind of messed up there. They're like, oh crap, I can't do that, and they just threw a card away. They could have 2K countered to get out of it, but then we're going to go 2K more into it, or 8K into 7. Actually, it was I think it was like an 11K for the turn because of the one of the other events they used earlier on. Either way, good game to my opponent, even though they had a slight mess up there. That was a fun one, but I do think that Nefeltari Vivi is going to be fine into Purple Doflamingo. Okay, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. We got one more game here. We got a game versus Black Crocodile. Okay, volume is off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Guys, Black Croc, probably my favorite deck from OP14. I like Blue Yellow Boa. I like Black Yellow Gecko. I like all the leaders from OP14, if I'm being honest. They're all pretty cool. But Black Croc, man. Whew. So, guys, we got a terrible start here. We have no counter in hand. We have a single 2K counter. We just went down to 2 life to start this game off. But that's okay. We have a blocker now. They swing for 5. Free block there. And, guys, that blocker is about to get himself some value. We're going to play out the Boa. Our opponent's going to have to bottom deck one of their cards. And then we're going to be able to give that card rush, and we're going to swing it for 8K. They'll probably take this, or maybe one cost. Nope. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and take that one. They go for 5. We're going to block out of this one. Okay, and let's see what they choose to do. They have 6 Dawn here, or excuse me, they have 7 Dawn. They're going to Crocodile effect here to minus 10 cost to my Boa, and they're going to KOing their Mr. 2 Boncray Bentham, which is going to pull out a 5 cost or lower Baroque Works character from the trash, and then with their 7 Dawn, they're going to play out Miss All Sunday to play out a 4 cost and a 1 cost from their trash. Seems really good, and then we 2K to get out of that attack there. All right, here we go, but we are starting to stabilize. So all of that to say this, guys, now that we got past that really shaky early game, our late game is about to be disgusting, right? Okay, so Paul, what just happened there? Why did I use my leader effect first? Let's go back. So, guys, they have an 8,000 power character on the board. I'm going to KO it with a Rayleigh. I'm going to go leader effect first, minus 2,000 to the Miss All Sunday, play out the Rayleigh, minus 3,000 to the Miss All Sunday, KOing a 3K or less, that being the target, and then I'll give minus 2,000 to their next target. Okay, so I end up giving the minus 2,000 to the Mr. 2 Boncray Bentham, because I feel like they're going to attack with that card, or try to, whereas the Mr. 5 Jim, they might decide to block with. I think it was probably safer to give minus 2,000 to the Jim, though. Okay, here we go. They're going to swing it for 5K. We're going to go ahead and 1K counter out of that. And let's see what they choose to do now. We still have a blocker. They don't really have a great follow-up here. Okay, just kidding. They have a great follow-up. They're going to get rid of the Mr. 2 Boncray Bentham, locking down my Marco. They're going to be able to attack into it now. They shut down the attack of my Silver's Rayleigh with the 8-cost Croc. I love that card. Guys, legitimately, my favorite card in the game right now is 8-cost Secret Croc from OP14. Absolutely love the card. I can't tell you why. It doesn't even make sense to me. I love the card so much. I just think it's so cool. And here we go. Now it's back to us. 10 Dawn turn. This is where you start windmilling the 10-cost characters down. Just non-stop 10 cost into 10 cost into 10 cost when you can. Now, right here, actually, sorry. I choose the better play here. And this is a situation where I think technically the Red Rock is better than a 10-cost Shanks. We talked about that a little bit in the deck list breakdown, right? Shanks is very strong, but against Crocodile, Gum Gum Red Rock is stronger because it bottom decks the card and gets around their own KO effect. So that is something we'll have to actually consider moving forward. Okay, here we go. They're playing out a Miss Valentine Makita to do some searching. Guys, I think they're down to like 10 cards left in their deck or something like that. They're moving through their deck very quickly. So right here, guys, they've locked down 2 of my attacks. I could follow up with another Red Rock. Pause. I'm sorry, we have to talk about something right now. Yeah, I think the Red Rock is the right call, and then maybe we double up even more on our 4-cost targets. So once we're on a 10 Dawn turn, we get this option of dropping down a massive 10-cost character or having a 6-4 play, 6-cost Red Rock, 4-cost blocker. That's all she wrote, right? That makes a lot of sense. We might have to mess around with that in the future. Okay, so we play out the Edward Newgate. We're not going to give the Edward Newgate rush. We're going to leave that as a blocker. We're going to swing for 7, and then I think we're going to swing for 8. Nope, just kidding. We're actually going to use that as a blocker. Okay, they play out a Miss All Sunday, playing out the Mr. 2 Boncray Bentham, and then playing out a Miss Wednesday. Guys, that Miss Wednesday, that has an activate main to give a character minus 3,000 power if there's 0 cost. Okay, activate main, trash this character, give up one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0, minus 3,000 power during this turn. Look at that, 3 into 3 now. I'm just going to let the card go, and I'm going to draw 2 cards. Okay, we're going to save it the first time, obviously, so they have to attack into it again, but you guys get the idea. We had to get out of that first one. 10 into 12, we get out of that for free. Now we have that play I was talking about, guys. We have the 6-cost Red Rock into the 4-cost Marco. This is ideal, right? We're going to bottom deck another Crocodile, and now we can follow up with the Marco. This is perfect. 5, so 8 into 6, 5 into 2, 8 into 5. We have the blocker here. We're sitting on double blocker. We're not playing around, guys. My opponent is getting way too aggressive. I have to actually just bunker down at this point. Because if I can extend this game out, guys, and drop down more Edward Newgates or 10 cost, draw 4 Kaidos, then we're in really good shape. Okay, here we go. They're going to use the Mr. 2, they're going to use the 8 cost Crocodile. They're going to lock down both my Rayleigh and my 10 cost, what's his name there? The 10 cost Edward Newgate. They're going to swing in for 6, and we're going to 2K counter out. Okay, here we go. We're going to -3, -2 there, and then we're going to swing 8 into 6. We could have just gotten rid. Okay, nice. They're going to actually try to defend it here, guys. We're going to give the Silver's Rayleigh rush. We're going to go 10 into 4, and that card's out of here. Now they have a 7K Crocodile and a 5K leader attack. And we have 2 blockers. So we're at the point now where we kind of are in control. They play out a ground death here to nullify my Marco's blocker. Seems good. So they're going to swing in. We're going to block for free there. That was the 7K. If they choose to attack in super aggressively with their leader, we'll just take the hit. Or we can save any character we want to, of course. Okay, they're going to use Haute Couture Patchwork. That's brutal. Just to lock down my blocker. That Haute Couture Patchwork in this deck is incredible. They're going to come in for 11. We have to take that. And here we go, guys. Here we go. So I have to get down that blocker in my hand. Y'all see that Nefeltari Vivi? It doesn't matter if I can't play out something else. We have to get down that blocker this next turn. And we also have to get them on a clock here where they lose next turn. Like, not this turn, but the next turn. So I swing for 5. I swing for 8. I swing for 8. Let's see what they do here. Looks like they're doing a draw. I think it's a draw 2 trash 1 on Haute Couture Patchwork's trigger. We swing in for 8. And right here, we're going to replace that card with a Nefeltari Vivi. We have 2 blockers. We have 1 life. And then we have 2 for 7K counter in hand. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Okay, they're going to nullify both blockers. And all of a sudden, they're coming in for a 9 and 10. So we can get out of the 10K attack. So we're going to take this to fully bait them in. And then we're going to get out of that. And that's going to be game. Okay, good game to my opponent. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and concede because that's all she wrote. Right after that, guys, we're just swinging in for oodles. Right, we're swinging in for a lot after that. Well, guys, that was it for the games on the sim, and I have to say, this deck is a blast. This deck is a lot of fun to play. But like I was saying, guys, I think the thing that I want to work on next with this list, I don't think I want to keep this boa in the deck, the 6-cost boa. In fact, I think I would really like to see the red-cost stuff in here. Let me just replace 2 boas with 2 Ben Beckmans real quick. And then I don't know if I want to keep in these Kaidos. I think just the 10-cost Edward Newgate is just going to be a little bit better in that position. Whoops. Here we go. I think just running 4 Newgates is probably going to be the way to go there. And then what else? I think we are going to keep these Gum Gum Red Rocks in here. And I don't think... I'm going to be honest, guys. This card is really good. Maybe there's a matchup where it really excels. But I'm very tempted to just, like, trade this card out for something else. I don't know what. Maybe the Nami or something like that. Maybe some other type of Straw Hat card. Let me type in Straw Hat real quick, and we'll go to red and blue cards. Maybe some type of 4-cost target like we were saying with this Marco. And I know some people are probably going to be like, why run the Yamato? Well, guys, remember, this is a brick in our hand, and I want to keep all these massive characters in the deck. So I think what I might consider running in here is some type of 4-cost blocker, if there's any left for red and blue Straw Hats. Let's see, there might not be, to be fair. Actually, it could be a 5-cost too, but I prefer it be 4 for what we were talking about earlier on, you know, about comboing it with the Red Rock. might not be an option. We'll have to do some brainstorming there. I'll keep that the way it is for now. But yeah, I really wish we had another really, really strong 4-cost blocker in this deck, like the Marco and like the Tony Chopper. Maybe we don't care if it's Straw Hat. Maybe we shouldn't worry about that. But then it's like, wait, then we only have like a few targets we can even hit. In fact, then we'd only have one target we can hit with Nefeltari Vivi. Well, actually, I guess we have 2. We technically have, so 8 altogether, right? We have 2 main targets to hit with the Nami and the Chopper. But it'd be nice to have something else to hit there as well. I don't know. We got some brainstorming to do. I will say this. The deck is a lot of fun, and I think it has a lot of potential. And it has a lot of different ways you can build it. I'll say that right now. But yeah, that's pretty much my main idea here. Let me say this. I never felt like I needed to play this card. That's the main thing. But then again, if you look at all the games I played, I think I went second all 4 games. So on the games I'm going first, maybe that's where this card is really strong. But I will say this, guys, I could see going -1 of these. I don't know. Because if I have the option, I'm going to go with this Nami. Because I tend to be more of a defensive player when it comes to setting up my turns. And being able to go like, okay, 5-cost blocker into 5-cost blocker, draw 3, trash 2. Or draw 3, replace, put 2 on the top or bottom. I will probably always take that over just the draw 1, and then I lose my leader attack anyway, for the effect. I'd rather just have my leader attack, I guess, and just put down the 2 blockers and go from there. Maybe that's a playstyle difference. Hear me out, guys. That might just be a playstyle difference, but I am leaning more in that direction. Let me type in 4 and see what other 4-drop options we have for this deck. Maybe even something like an Edward Weevil just to draw a card. Maybe this Cavendish. I have seen other players run Cavendish, but we'll have to see. If you guys have any cool ideas, please share it in the comment section below. I'd like to go up counters. Maybe we even run something like this Kobe. We don't really care about the opponent's turn effect, but that when attacking effect, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost, with 3,000 base power or less. Then if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. Maybe that'd be kind of decent. But remember, guys, it has a when attacking effect. So the bad part about Kobe and what's his name? Where is it? Not Edward Weevil's actually solid. But no, the bad part about Kobe and Cavendish is these are when attacking effects. So we can't even give those cards rush. So that's unfortunate. But Edward Weevil, actually, I just saw a card. Ulti's kind of interesting. Guys, pause and read this card if you don't know what it does. This card is kind of interesting in the 4-cost spot. Maybe it's like a 2 of. Maybe this is just like a decent 2 of to run in the deck. And it's not a brick either. Like it's a 1K. And it's going to let us look at our top 3 cards. And remember, this card, you do not reveal what it is. I told you guys to read it, but I'm just going to read it now. If your leader's multicolored, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add 1 to your hand. You don't reveal it. And it doesn't matter what type it is. Then place the rest in any order on the top or bottom of your deck. That might be pretty good here, guys. Let me actually just add 2 of those for now. This might be kind of good in the deck. Because like I said, later on in the game, being able to go, okay, Gum Red Rock, you're a dude off the board, and this can search for it, by the way, and then follow up our 4-cost, with the remaining 4, we play out a Marco, a Tony Chopper, or like worst case scenario, an ulti that fixes our hand a little bit. Could be kind of good. Could be kind of okay. We'll have to see. But other than that, guys, I think those are the main revisions I wanted to make to the list, and it's looking pretty good right now, I think. Still room for improvement. And I will say this, as much as I like this card, I think I might only need like 3 of these. As crazy as that sounds, I might even go like 3 Nefeltari Vivi and 3 Nami. I know people are going to be so mad about that. I just have a feeling people are going to be really frustrated or mad about that. But it's just, it's the next testing I'm going to do with it. Let me see, this is, where's the card I'm looking for? It's a 5-cost red. I'll go up to 1 of these, or I'll go up to 3 of these. This is kind of the direction I'm leaning with the list here. If you guys have a better list, by all means, say something in the comment section below. I can also see going like maybe minus 1 of these Silver's Rayleighs now that we're up a Ben Beckman, and going up to 4 of these Shanks. No, maybe not. This is only 8 costs in the deck. Never mind, that's staying there. Silver's Rayleigh, the GOAT, he's staying there as a 4 of. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And guys, let me get the outro page on here. Y'all be nice in the comment section below. I know some people get really passionate about some of these leaders, and some people are really, you know, they're set on like, oh, these are the best cards to run in the deck, and just run these, or it's enough. It's no way. It's no other way to do it, right? You know, and that's fine. I love hearing everybody's opinion on stuff. Let's just please keep it respectful. That's the only thing I ask. All right, guys, like I said, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And, guys, if you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing my stuff, or using my TCG Player affiliate link, you're helping me out big time. Thank you so much, guys. Also, to all the people who donate on Patreon or PayPal, all the Playmat supporters, YouTube members, and people in the Discord community, thank you guys so much for all the support. This community has been incredible. All right, I'm done. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, guys. Peace.